Cook reporting for KYNG. This is my first year in youth and government, so I had a lot of questions about the program. Being in media, I only get to see a small portion of how the program works. I do have friends in the Senate, the forum, and the jury trial, but I still was unclear about how the program functions. I was intrigued to find out about all the little nooks and crannies of youth and government, so follow me as I look into each program. My first destination was the assembly portion of our government. I met with Assemblyman Portantino to find out more. Now, how similar is the Youth and Government's Assembly compared to the actual assembly?
Well, one of the things that I've been very impressed with is I've gone to bill hearing night, I think 4 or 5 times over the last decade, and it's very impressive, the quality of the bills that the Youth and Government proposes. And I think it's great. It introduces obviously the youth of California to local government and state government, and many of the members up here talk fondly of how they got their introduction into politics and into government by being youth and government members. So I think it really does introduce a whole host of folks to what we do, and I think it plays a very, very valuable role.
All right, now can you explain exactly what you do in the assembly? What's your typical day like?
Well, the typical day is pretty chaotic. When we have floor session, obviously we take up bills and resolutions on the assembly floor. But when we're not on the floor, we're meeting with constituents, we're meeting with groups about our bill package. People come in and ask us to carry bills. We're meeting with people sometimes on both sides of an issue that come in here to lobby us for or against something. So it's a lot of meetings, a lot of research. Luckily, I have a great staff that helps me through it, and it's a lot of fun.
What is your top priority as the chair of higher education?
Well, I'm very passionate about California's public education institutions. We have a great community college system. The CSU educates so many of our teachers, so many people out there, and then the UC is also a great system. And as chair of higher education, I do bills that deal with all 3 of those institutions and oversee the committee that hears all the bills. And you know, to me, it's providing access for each and every California student to have the opportunity to go to one of those institutions and to make it affordable. So we need it to be accessible and affordable, and then have kids come out with a world-class education so they can thrive in a global high-tech economy.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Next, I had the opportunity to interview with Alex Castillo, who is President Pro Tempore. This is his 3rd year in youth and government, so he has some valuable information to share. Can you tell us what exactly the Senate does and what exactly your job is as President Pro Tempore?
Well, specifically, the Senate, much like the Assembly, passes legislation that gets passed in the committees, and there is formal debate on what was passed through the committees. It's a little bit more of a formal setup, and it's run a little bit differently than the actual committees themselves, but it's run essentially the same way. And my role as President Pro Tempore, it's similar to the Lieutenant Governor, in which I preside over the Senate, and I make sure that everything's running efficiently, that it's all run by parliamentary procedure, and that everybody is not only enjoying themselves, but everybody is speaking in a professional right manner.
Wonderful. All right. How similar is youth and the actual Senate?
From talking to various Senate people that I got to meet, fortunately, through being an officer, it's run in a very similar way. The only thing that is different is that we have a blue Senate and a gold Senate, because we have so many delegates, and we want as many delegates involved with the program as possible. So we don't. And obviously, of course, in the real Senate sessions, there's just one Senate. But other than that, they're run quite similar, and it's really cool to actually model how the Senate actually works.
Right. Okay. And one last question. How has your participation with youth and government motivated you to work toward a political career, possibly?
Well, before youth and government, before I joined, I read a lot about politics, and it was interesting to see how it was run. But once you actually get involved with the program, you actually realize that, as dorky as it may sound, it's really fun to actually hear the debate on the bills and to actually get involved and to try and talk to people to try and get your bill passed, or talk to other people to not get a bill passed, and actually being involved with the process and using the real chambers and feeling the professionality of what the type of environment that being involved with politics is really adds to the environment and really makes the overall experience better, and you actually get a sense of what politics is actually like.
Thank you so much for your time. I learned so much from my interview with Alex. Perhaps I will even pursue participating in the Senate next year. I later discovered the busy life of a page in Sacramento.
Yeah, so well, what we are now is we're roaming pages, so we roam while being a page.
We do have a lot of downtime, but when we get notes, it's hectic running all day.
Definitely. We're the most in shape people at Youth in Government.
Yeah, like this guy delivered 5 notes in 1 hour yesterday.
This guy delivered 6 notes in 10 minutes.
What can I say?
What's your typical day like?
As publisher, our typical day is chaotic and busy, but we work in such an inspiring place that people just creative juices are flowing constantly. It's a wonderful place to be.
Being in the media, life can get pretty busy. Listen to my producer, Josh, tell you more.
The producer for the media for Y-Line, which airs Sunday at 4 p.m. And so I have 3 helpers that help me. They have 3 packages. And so 8 a.m. we have a meeting. We collaborate, think of an introduction, think of some packages to do. And we go off and interview people. We get some B-roll footage. And we just run around Sacramento trying to get some good footage.
Lastly, I was informed about the hectic schedule of the lobbyist. The Office of Research was absolutely packed with them while they were busy preparing their bills. What's your typical day like?
Well, as a lobbyist, we do a lot of things, such as, for the first half of the weekend, we go into different committees. We're assigned as different groups. And our job is to work as a team and to persuade the committee to vote for or against our bill. That's what we do for the half of our weekend. And the second half, what we're doing right now is, as a group, we come up with our own bills that we would like to personally pass and to put into and to be enforced within America. And so what we have to do is we come up with our own bills, we research, we come up with advertisements, and we have to come up with many different signatures for this bill to pass.
Never-ending joint sessions, an unfair ratio, a lack of unity, and a feeling that nothing is being accomplished. There are some urgent problems pressing today's delegates in Youth in Government. All of the candidates for governor promise progress or change, but what will they really be changing? And most of all, how can we as delegates be the change, and how do we go about that? I first spoke to Keela McGinnis, who is in the lobbyist program.
I'm in the lobbyist program at YG. I think that the lobbyist is pretty demanding. We were supposed to do research in between TNE2 and Sacramento, and it was pretty vital. Like, we have to convince the legislators in Senate and Assembly, and it's pretty important that we know what we're talking about. Well, basically we go and we try and convince the committees that they should vote for this bill or that they should not vote for this bill, and as a kind of like to make us want to do it, they have little prizes, and we're trying to like go against other packs of lobbyists. Okay, well, my day would be joint convention, which lasts a little too long, that's okay. And then I go and listen to about 2 bills at a time. Sometimes we only get through 1, and I talk probably 55% of the time. And then a break, and then I have another one, and then probably a lobbyist meeting where we just all talk about what we're doing.
We next spoke to Robin and Caitlin from the Board of Education.
They're definitely less demanding than the other program areas because we don't really do anything. We just come to session for about a half an hour and pretty much do whatever we want the rest of the time, and the cases are really hard. So most of the time we just don't pay attention.
Yeah, she basically said it all, but it's kind of all we do. And like sometimes we get out early and you just kind of like sit around and hang out with whoever you meet. It's kind of fun, but it's pretty boring.
Walk me.
Okay. Fortunately, if you don't have joint session, you can wake up kind of late and get breakfast, and then you go to meetings, and it's kind of nonsense. Then you get out usually early, and then you eat for quite a long time.
Eat long time. Eat good food.
And then you get back into session and do nothing again. The only hard part about it is that you work on your speech a little bit, but that's only if you even have to do a speech.